Okay, this is a crazy story. This is probably going to be a wild 2 weeks leading up to the election. But the US government found that Iran was behind those threatening emails sent to Democrats. So if you haven't heard the story, there was an email operation done. Uh, Everyone assumed that it was from the Proud Boys because the notice claimed that it was from the Proud Boys. They had discovered the voter registration of everyone in Pennsylvania. And if voters voted for anyone except Donald Trump, the Proud Boys would know about it, and they would they would hurt the people and the families of the people who voted for anyone except Donald Trump. So let's take a look at this article. It says U.S. officials on Wednesday night accused Iran of targeting American voters with faked but menacing emails and warned that both Iran and Russia had obtained voter data. So in the notifications to Democrats, it said that the Proud Boys didn't know the voter identification and the voter data of Democrats. So the email claimed to be from a pro-Trump group called the Proud Boys, but evidence had mounted that they were in fact the work of another hidden actor. U.S. officials said that it was Iran, a nation that increasingly had clashed with the president in recent years. Wow, this is just so interesting because, later it talks about, well, the Iranian motive might be to damage the president. It's such a weird, double-sided kind of an act because Iran's motives could have been, listen, if we simply influence the election either way, the American people can lose faith in their democracy. And perhaps even it could help Donald Trump because it could help prove that the upcoming elections are not legitimate, fraudulent, right? It could work against Donald Trump in the sense that, okay, obviously it's discovered, they blamed it on the Proud Boys, and so people will become outraged in Pennsylvania that the right-wing group, the Proud Boys, would interfere, and maybe it would help Biden. It's such a weird strategy by Iran, and the fact that they were discovered. So, you can just keep going like deeper levels of thinking. Like perhaps Iran knew that they would be discovered. And so trying to help Trump might help Biden, or it could work in reverse. Maybe either way, even if they're discovered, people will still be afraid and will still vote for Trump. So depending on what side of the political spectrum you're on, you can claim that Iran is trying to help the other party. Now, in this article, it claims that Ratcliffe said the data can be used by foreign actors to attempt to communicate false information to registered voters. So that's the information that was stolen by Iran and Russia. So they now have a huge amount of voter data. So they know who's registered Republican, who's registered in Democrats, and now they're actively sending emails to people online in these swing states. Whew. I mean, that's why I said it can help Trump as well as help Biden, because even if they interfere in the election and they interfere in a positive way towards Donald Trump, when Donald Trump loses, he's almost assuredly to claim that the election is illegitimate. And perhaps he can even point to what is happening right now as, oh, see, Iran, Russia, they tried to interfere to help Joe Biden win election. This election isn't valid. We should not accept the results. Here, later in the article, it says exactly what the message said to Democrats. It said, "You will vote for Trump on election day, or we will come after you." And by Tuesday night, it had reached voters in as many as 4 states, 3 of them hotly contested swing states in the coming presidential elections. Well, They probably should have done this a couple weeks ago, because almost a third of the people who voted in the last election have already voted early. So it's kind of too late to change their votes now. But yeah, I mean, getting at later in the article it says getting at the intent is hard, as this who knows why they did this. I don't know. Does Iran want Donald Trump to become president again? Um, because almost immediately after taking office, Donald Trump ended the nuclear weapons agreement um, that Iran had with President Obama and Secretary of State John Kerry, that they had worked over a year for, right? So they had kind of solved their nuclear weapons kind of dilemma. And immediately after coming in office, Donald Trump just ripped it up, tore it up. Then later, of course, we had the conflict with Iran, where Donald Trump, the Trump administration, killed a high-ranking uh, Iranian official, and Iran responded by launching I don't know if it was a ballistic missile. Let's call it, yeah, it was a ballistic missile at U.S. troops, and many of those U.S. troops actually suffered concussions. So during the Trump administration, we have actually had something of not even a cold or like a hot conflict with Iran, although tensions have kind of subsided after Iran retaliated. But I don't know. I don't know. Does Iran want Donald Trump to remain president as opposed to someone like Joe Biden, who, of course, Biden was vice president when they orchestrated the nuclear agreement the first time around? You would assume from the Iranian perspective that they would prefer Joe Biden as opposed to preferring Trump administration. Obviously, it's clear that whom Russia would want to become president. Of course, as in 2016, they would probably prefer Donald Trump because of Trump's stance against NATO. And anything that weakens NATO, of course, would help Russia. But actually, this particular campaign tactic was done by Iran. So perhaps Russia hasn't played its hand yet, but they still have a couple of weeks to try to influence the election. So who knows what Russia is going to try? But man, this is really a crazy story, and I expect more crazy stories to happen between now and November 3rd, and I will keep you posted. Make sure to hit like and subscribe to tune in for more content on this election, and leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about this article. Do you think that Iran would prefer Biden versus Trump? And what is their motives here? Why would Iran do this? All right. Talk to you later.